I really don't want Liverpool to get Barcola. I just think that they don't deserve a player like that.
Damn. Oh, why
I
is
just think
that?
I don't think they're gonna get the best out of him. And I think at the end of the season they were finally starting to like shut up. After they got that gifted Champions League spot, I think they finally calmed down a little bit. I just don't want it to happen because I just don't want them to feel like they're big boys again because they get a big transfer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I'm salty. I don't know. I don't care.
You sounded real salty on that one.
Let them talk.
I think I'm a special one.
I swear you'll never see anything like this ever again.
Incredible stuff. Here we go.
Welcome back to another episode of Rivals on the Pitch. Thank you for joining us for another summer edition as we get 1 week closer to August 21st, which is the beginning of the Premier League. Today's episode, we're going to be going a little bit over, we're going to revisit some World Cup issues that are still arising. We'll talk about the possible downfall of what should I call him? A journalist, influencer? I don't know.
Yeah, both.
Both, right? So we'll get into that, and then we'll get into some transfer news as we get, like I said, one step closer to the Premier League and see how these teams are shaping up. So, I'm Alan.
I was asleep. Oh, sorry. I'm Pat.
And Randy's not here because he's still taking leave that he's not getting paid for. I hope he knows that.
Yeah.
Leave without pay.
He's scouting right now.
Yeah. Yeah, because Liverpool's going to need all the help they can get because they're not having any luck.
But we'll get into the transfers, right? But first, let's get the ugliness out of the way. Just because it is a lingering thing now with this World Cup. The controversies don't stop. Wait. We should tackle the
elephant in the room?
Yeah, the elephant in the room. So I have a little bit of an issue with my eye. It looks a little crazy. I had a burst blood vessel in my eye, so I don't want to give you guys the stink eye the whole episode. So I'm rocking these, and you know what? I might just rock it for the rest of the season because
this is what happens. This is what happens when you take preseason too serious.
Yeah, exactly. My blood pressure went through the roof. But yeah, I think if Arsenal go undefeated, I'll wear them every single episode until we lose. So how about that?
Ooh. So you're gonna wear it for 1 week?
But yeah, so like as we were mentioning, the controversies for the World Cup continue. And Infantino, the head of FIFA, is now running to all his buddies to try to save him from what seems to be probably an imminent exit. I think as most of you may have seen, there was a supposed plan to try to make the World Cup a private entity, essentially be sold. And I think everyone was against it. I don't think there was one person that was for it. And without getting into the political things, I think there's a lot of people involved. So this was probably a lot farther along than people heard about it. I think people were already kind of like imagined to be in places, to manage this transition. And it got such a strong backlash that it basically was nixed in the end. But Infantino now, everyone's asking for his exit, and he's kind of reaching out, trying to plead his case. I've heard that there's some quotes going around saying that he was bullied as a kid, and that's why he wants to create this unifying competition. But it seems like he's just kind of grasping at whatever he can to try to remain in this role. I'm ready for him to move on. I think this World Cup was enough of a sample for me to say that, there were some things. Yeah.
it's enough to know that he doesn't have the best interest of the sport of the competition at heart. It's more of a
Yeah.
money machine. And it's obvious with what just came out
Oh
and
yeah.
how it was throughout the whole World Cup itself.
Absolutely. I don't think I could have said it better. I think yeah, the interest there was not in what actually was being said, which was the fan base. Obviously the price gouging, the um, you know, um, what do you call it, benefiting off of resale.
Yep.
And now there's all these cities that were promised verbally, you know, money for hosting World Cup games that were going to be then used in the community to create pitches, create fields, and just general community service. And no one kind of knows where to go to get this stuff completed. So it continues on, unfortunately, and yeah, I mean, we're a long way away from 2030, the next World Cup, but it's hopefully there's a new face leading this
Yeah.
organization. Yeah, but
From just FIFA making 15, I think it's reported $15 billion is insane. And I don't even know if that's straight profit, that's ridiculous.
mhm.
Because then it goes to show how much they didn't have to charge as much as the tickets as they had to, as they did.
Oh yeah,
They could have provided more transportation. They could have done more with the cities and towns to provide a better atmosphere or whatever you want to call it, for the fans who are putting up the money. But
yeah. And isn't it supposed to be a nonprofit organization? Like, I know that there's like prize money for the winning teams, but I mean,
I think it's what 20 million that they got, 50 million.
something like that. Yeah.
Golly,
So
out of 15 billion, come on.
it's crazy. It's crazy. Let's hope for the best because the World Cup again. We said it before. The games were the best and only part of it that I feel like was enjoyable. Maybe not for people who were, so the Argentina games got a little ugly here and there, but it was still, you know, the beautiful game. It was still there, and we love to see it. So hopefully everything else behind the scenes, kind of like the background work, kind of gets cleaned up because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are watching their first ever World Cup, at whatever age they are, and I feel like stuff like this could like really ruin the experience for them to be like, oh, like, well,
Yep,
it's just all this shady stuff going on. Yeah, I don't know, like, you know
exactly.
what I mean. So you don't want to ruin that for somebody who's new to the sport, maybe new to the game. Um, but yeah, so another controversial, maybe
Figure.
yeah, another controversial now controversial figure. I think this kind of was like a little bit of a roller coaster where it was like coming up and then now it seems like it's on the way back down. Um, Fabrizio Romano he is under attack, under fire.
But this isn't new though. Not
It's
this,
I think
the
people are
last
finally
2 years.
speaking out
Yeah,
on it though.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like people are speaking out on it now. So I think that's why it's come to light recently. But yeah, it's not new, and I think it was highlighted a lot from this World Cup as well. Fabrizio Romano apparently posting final scores on World Cup games before the games were over, and then having to delete
Mhm.
it and repost. And the idea is obviously that you get this out. Um,
First,
yeah, you get it out first. That the algorithm grabs it and it gets spread out to more people before anybody else. Before any of these other outlets, any of these other journalists, sports networks. So it's not cheating. I think it's clever, but I think it because it's traveled into the whole transfer window world. I think people are getting a little bit fed up with what they feel is misinformation, you
Mhm.
know. And a couple years back, I think Fabrizio Romano was like the man. He was the person to
Exactly.
announce. I think he even mentioned in some interviews the highlight of his career was when he got to announce Cristiano Ronaldo to Juventus after leaving Real Madrid after all those years. I think it was a person that people looked for as a trustful source, and I'm sure that he has trustful people, but I think you chase so much of that behind the scenes information. I feel like who knows, maybe he's not getting the right information anymore.
So,
Things happen. Is he jumping the gun? I
you
don't
know
know. What
what
do you feel?
it so I'll still post this stuff, right? Because I think we talked about it. Our main source now, or our main go-to guy, is David Ornstein. If he says it, it's because I think he works for the Athletic, right? So they can't
He
come out here
does.
and start rumors or whatever. So if it's
Yeah.
something that's has a truth to it, then when they announce it, you listen. With Fabrizio, I think that was the case at one point,
Hmm.
but once he started getting bigger, I think what happened is you start hearing those, the stories about, oh, he's getting paid so that, he could push stories out to get players, moves to happen. He gets money for, publicity for certain players. Like when you look at the Ballon d'Or, with every other post he put out was of what's that? Uh, Yamal.
Yeah, yeah.
Every day it was at least 4 or 5 posts of that kid, and they say that he's getting paid to push this out, so that it was showing up on people's feeds, so it's publicity that
People
people are
get
paying for.
swayed.
Exactly, they get swayed. They see him posting about it. Um, Last season, especially with the Tottenham community, we got the here we go a few times, and it wasn't happening. And it's like,
Oh yeah.
sure, things happen, right? But when things happen consistently or more than once, it still could be a coincidence. But guess what? This is what you're known for, is providing the here we go, so that we can get excited for a transfer, so you could beat the news, be the first ones on scene. And when they didn't come true, it's like, okay, well, now we don't trust you.
Oh
Now we
yeah.
just think that you're doing things just for clickbait, for whatever case may be. And um we get burnt one too many times, and you start questioning his methods. But I think just the money got involved, where he's getting paid for certain things, and I don't know. It's maybe he's trying to become relevant again, because I know lately it's kind of coming backward. Twitter, I don't get on Twitter a lot, but
Yeah. Me either.
when I do, I have like certain pages I'll follow to, like, talk about rumors and stuff like that, what people might know here and there. But I know he just got in an argument with what's his name?
So it was another
Blur.
journalist.
Yeah, another journalist. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm trying to find one of the posts that I just most recently saw, but the first one came with this journalist, and the journalist was kind of called out his tactics, how he's posting scores before the games are over to try to beat the algorithm, and that he's kind of doing these things with transfer news as well. There's a little bug, and he does the "here we go," the famous "here we go" that
Yeah.
he they know
Here
he.
we go.
So yeah, Fabrizio hit back at this journalist, and saying that, oh, maybe I should post DMs of you reaching out, saying that you look up to me, and
Oh yeah.
I'm the best. I feel like it was a little bit at the same time, like you're allowed to defend yourself, you know what I mean? Like, as we mentioned, David Ornstein, he's a reporter for the Athletic, and they're the ones who really post most of his information. So Fabrizio Romano will respond to himself, you know what I mean? But it seemed a little childish, honestly. And then another thing that popped up recently was that he had mentioned Diamande to Real Madrid. Here we go. Clubs just have to finish out the details on the contract, but here we go soon. Um, and now it's being said that PSG are now in the race again for Diamande, and Leipzig have games coming up. And then from the Leipzig side, they mentioned that nothing's done, nothing's been agreed, nothing, everything. He could still be a Leipzig player, before the season starts. Like, nothing's been agreed, nothing's been confirmed. He's like, so all these journalists going, spreading this false information, and I think that was a direct hit to Fabrizio Romano, which I found the post, to which he responds with a little snake emoji saying, "Let them talk." And not only did he post this, but everyone's saying in the comments, first comment, "Bro, got so many deals wrong this summer," but is saying, "Let them talk." And he replies, "We will see if Diamande was wrong. Relax and enjoy."
He's been very active on Twitter defending himself
Oh,
with like
yeah.
random people too. So it's funny to see because
Oh, yeah. Look at this. Fab ain't got a single transfer right this summer, man. And he replies, "I could mention you 50, mate, but I love your hate plus still follow me combo. Keep going." Another one, "Let him talk. Let him talk facts, you mean?" And Fabrizio replies, "I mean that you talk a lot, but still follow me. I love you hate on me, but you're still coming here to check my posts. Keep going." So
it's
it
funny.
just keeps going. He replied
Yeah.
to all of these, and to me, again, you're allowed to defend yourself. He reports to himself. He's a one man show, but to me, not only does that feel a little desperate, but that feels like you're starting to lose the plot.
Yep.
I feel
Yep.
like when you do this kind of stuff, it's kind of like a cover up for you obviously failing. I think when stuff like, look, listen, and I totally get that things can happen. You know what I mean? There was a here we go for Eze, for example, last summer, and
Mhm.
things happened, and he ended up at Arsenal, which was a story in its own. But I don't think that that's Fabrizio's fault. I think there was a here we go. Everything was agreed, and essentially they were just. I think the talks were just about how to divvy up the payment. You know what I mean? Got to decide how many years, how many payments, what's a bonus, what isn't a bonus, and all these little details. You know what I mean? But the player had agreed to a contract at Tottenham. Um, Crystal Palace had accepted a certain a certain amount of money. Tottenham were willing to pay the amount of money, and it was just the details left. And at the end of the day, some of the things happened that made it go, made Eze go to Arsenal instead. That's not Fabrizio's fault, but I feel like to not take ownership for some things, I feel like is his biggest fault right now. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Saying, hey, it was a almost done deal, but I uh I try to beat the buzz line or try to get that headline first, but things went south,
Oh
you
yeah,
know. So the journalist he was fighting with was Florian Pletenberg.
mm.
I think he was a German journalist because I know we had issues with him, with the whole Harry Kane stuff and
Yeah,
Mateus Tell, but yeah, like it's like you said, he's losing the plot. It's to the point where um when you got to defend every single here we go, every single
yeah,
you know tweet that you put out, and then you got to find time to reach out to people who are commenting like that goes. It's like with those movies when you see the bad guy just um
yeah,
attacking anybody and everybody, or
yeah.
like it's kind of
It's
like
a,
that.
it's a defense mechanism,
Yeah,
but I got to ask the question because I feel like all of this stuff has brought up another controversial thing, which is like has like this idea of social media and influencers and perhaps being the first to the story in order to get those likes, to get those retweets, to get those comments, to get that interaction. Has it ruined? Has it ruined transfer window in a way? Because
yeah,
we've talked about. I mean, I started watching Arsenal like right when we signed Ozil, right before that 2014 World Cup. I was starting to get engaged in football again, and people talk about how exciting it was to not find out until the last day that Ozil had signed for Arsenal. The thing with Eze that happened, I feel like that was the most exciting transfer that I feel like I've seen because I feel like there was so much misinformation about him going to
yeah.
Tottenham and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden he ends up at Arsenal. But we're robbed a little bit of that surprise aspect, right?
Mhm.
Another one, I'm sorry I'm rubbing so much salt in the wound, but Sol Campbell. I mean, you've read the stories,
Yeah,
everything was
yeah.
done. Him meeting Arsene Wenger after midnight, and to keep reporters away from it. And at the end of the day, you tune in on TV and you hear these rumors, this, that, and that, but it's really just like reporters reporting on what's really happening instead of like them jumping the gun and saying this is what's going to happen. It's basically done. You wouldn't know because you weren't there, but I got people on the inside. So you
Yep.
just trust me and hit that like if if you want to hear more about, you know what I mean. But now people are getting tired too. They get like one source of information and then everybody else copies and puts it out
That
loud and then it's
or
wrong
they'll-
information and then
Yep.
you're like, is it happening
What's
or not?
what-
Like, I'm tired of it.
Randy's not here to defend himself, but Randy's the worst at it.
Oh yeah.
He's like, oh look, it says Mbappe to Tottenham from fake news sports soccer 3678
Yeah.
something username. I'm like, Randy's
Quoted by
by
Abraham Lincoln.
right. No, I think he there's like football 360 something like that, and their sources are always awful. Like Team Sports or Talk Sports or whatever that they're awful too.
Yeah.
I think it has ruined it, especially because nowadays, the social media, your attention is probably the biggest for the biggest thing people pay for is your attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
TVs don't have it anymore. It's all about social media, so everybody wants to be relevant too. So, like you said, they start copy and pasting other people's tweets or information, or they'll put out what they think is going to happen, and they'll. So if I'm like, okay, well, I think Tottenham need a striker. Well, Osimhen is out there. Let me just put a tweet out saying that Tottenham's in for Victor Osimhen, and if it becomes true, then I look like I got someone in the know. I looks like I have someone feeding me information now. Now I have a following. Now I'm popular. You know what I'm saying? Even though all it was just a shot in the dark, and I just happened to get it right because I was trying to connect dots. Kind of like with Savinho. I could start putting tweets right now like, oh, Savinho and Tottenham are going to get a deal done next week. Hey, all fake, but because I'm trying to connect two dots together that are likely to happen.
Oh yeah.
It looks like I have some inside information. So whatever I put out now is good information, quote unquote, right? Or you have people that quote other people without real quotes. It's like, Savinho to Tottenham Friday, and then I'll tag Fabrizio Romano, even though he never said that.
Mm-hmm.
And people just start believing you, and it's gotten to a point where it's just really like when it was one or two sources, cool. Like it's fun, it's funny to hear these little rumors and you're like, okay, that's interesting. I wonder if it's true or not. But now it's everybody and their mother. It's kind of just annoying. And
you know what I've seen that's clever too? Sometimes I'll watch a game or for example, like Tottenham like just played they just played a friendly against Chelsea. I know Denzel got a red card, and then people are like, oh, don't mention the commentary like, oh, Tottenham, they're really in need of a center back with, Romano possibly on the out and stuff like that. And someone will do like, oh, Tottenham are on the lookout for a center back, and they'll post pictures of certain players without mentioning that they're actually interested. So you assume that those are the players that they're interested in, but it's really just, opinion based. But exactly. It is click. And the whole thing is ruined. I feel like I miss the days where you're just like seeing people like, oh, so-and-so was in London. And then you wait like 2 days and then you'll hear from an actual journalist saying like, so-and-so has landed in London, medical in the next 24 hours, scheduled, you know what I mean? You're like, all right, cool. It's this is something to get excited about. We're not just like, you don't know what to believe. And every time you see one thing, you see it, every single page just repeat the same thing with absolutely no source. It's like playing telephone in a way.
Exactly. Exactly. But I would say like a few years ago when Fabrizio Romano, he really got the here we go tagline going.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad because it wasn't always like a month-long saga. He would say, here we go, when it was said and done, medicals are scheduled.
Or done.
Exactly. Like, here you go. Here's this information. It's going to happen. And 9 times out of 10, it's what happened, right? And I think that lasted maybe 2 or 3 windows where it was like that. And that was, to me, that was like, oh, this is perfect. Like, it's information that I was going to find out sooner or later,
Yeah.
like within a day or two. But here we get a little extra, or like, hey, this player, they're in serious talks. And it was actual serious talks. It wasn't,
Yeah.
because now what he does is he goes, oh, Thanos is interested in these players. That doesn't mean anything to us. It doesn't mean that they're talking. It doesn't mean that. It just means someone's like, oh, you know who would be good? So and so. Like,
Yeah.
now all of a sudden it's a big headline, like, oh, Tottenham are in for Cody Gapko because some guy back there said, maybe they're looking for a striker, someone like Cody Gapko, and that could have been the phrase, and
Exactly.
they run
Yeah,
with that.
absolutely. Yeah,
And it's like,
exactly that.
that kills it. Like, go back to where it was like, hey, they're in talks, because I'm sure you're at a club and you could be like, dude, I just saw so and so walk through the doors. I think they're gonna sign him, and then that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to know a little insider, a little fun fact right before it really happens. But don't tell me stuff like, oh well, I walked by Roberto De Zerbi's office and he was looking at highlights of so and so this team. I think it's this guy they're looking for. I don't know.
I think there's so much too with agents. I mean, they do so much work behind the scenes too. Like this whole Vinny Jr. thing to Arsenal. I'm still like, I think the door has kind of closed already, and I mentioned the last episode, but Arsenal's still there. They're still in communication, because if something falls through, there's somewhat of an agreement in place. But that doesn't mean that a club will talk to the agent and they'll say, listen, this is what my player is looking. This is the minimum wage that they're looking to get. This is the kind of role that they want. But now they're taking those conversations and they're saying like, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? They're jumping the gun. And that's, I think, the end of the thing is like,
Yeah,
they're taking any information to be the first to say it. And again, it's all for clicks, all for likes, all for comments, engagement. And all that to say is that, if you hear it here on Rivals on the Pitch, it's actually happening.
exactly.
So
as we quote the people that we just talked smack about.
exactly. So
I do feel bad, right? Let them talk, snakes.
Let them talk.
I think you're talking about Eze. I think that's why I didn't understand. I was like, why is he beefing with Eze? I do feel bad sometimes. I'll put the here we go, because to me, like, the here we go is sometimes it's not like, iconic. I don't want to call it iconic. That's giving it too much praise.
But it has
exactly what you're looking at. Yeah. Like the way he edits it. He hasn't changed it. The here we go slogan is kind of cool. Like,
oh yeah.
So I'll post it, but I'm like, I don't really like this dude this much anymore, but
yeah, he's losing. Listen, you got like another 3 weeks to clean your act up, my man. Fabrizio, I know you listen to this podcast. I know you get a lot of your information from this. So clean it up. Stop fighting with the trolls, man. It's not a good look.
Hey, you did it.
Yeah, that's true. I did. But yeah, with that, let's get into the transfers and we can decide. let's start rating them from 1 to 10. How real?
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Let's rate it.
On the Reddit. I read a lot of the Reddits in the morning. Like, I'll get up and see what people talk about. Yeah, I try to read. So the Koi's Reddit, they'll do the information. They'll post information like, oh, this is a rumor, and then they'll put the source. They have all the sources are ranked in different tiers. So if it's a reliable source, it's tier 1. If it's a source that's hasn't hit too many times, 2, and if it's just a no name, it'll be 3 or 4. So that's we should rank it like, okay, this is coming from a good source.
Yeah. All right. So let's rank. What do we do? 1 through 5? 5 like stars, or should we do?
Yeah, 1 through 5. 1 out of 5. Top, 5 stars is a good source, right?
Yeah. Okay, so the first one,
I feel like the only 5-star is when the team announces it.
Well, yeah. All right. So who should we start with? So
I will say one thing before we get Gone. Another reason why I won't say hate, what annoys me about how um all this information, all these rumors, and all these like in the knows, all these sources, people tweeting, it's because like I'm so obsessed with like who we're gonna get next, who we're gonna get next, and if like I buy into it, and then I hate it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, just leave it
You've been
alone.
spoiled, though. You've been spoiled.
Yeah, and it's like just leave it alone, like just let it happen, just let it happen, and then I'm like, let me check what's out there, let me check
Oh,
what people are
yeah.
saying.
I mean, I saw online someone saying that it's after the Zerbi mentioned that there's one more bomba
Oh god,
incoming.
everybody exploded, heads exploded.
Oh yeah, people were saying like, "Oh, we're gonna hijack the Vinicius deal."
I think that was
Eh,
more jokes.
well, no, it was. That's what I'm saying. It was jokes,
Yeah.
but as soon as I read that, I was like, "Oh my god! If I see the Vinicius photoshopped with a kid on, I'm gonna lose it," because I'm like, "There's no way that people are gonna take that and run
Dude,
with it," and they didn't.
yeah.
But there's still a little bit of sense in this world.
What I hate is that I'm like, don't put that out in the universe because it might happen. Like
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so a big one. Chelsea obviously have, as we mentioned in the last episode, you heard it here first. Jordan Henderson and Welbeck, they have their
oh, yeah.
men. They're aged men. They're man aged. They have their men. They have their experience, and now they are going for. Well, actually, no. If I correct myself, they might be losing someone up top. They just got Welbeck, but they might be losing Pedro Neto, who's been
Oh yeah.
rumored to have been contacted by Manchester City. And obviously, we know there is a little bit of traction there because
Yeah.
Manchester City coach was the person who brought Pedro Neto to Chelsea from Wolves, which was what's the guy's name?
Maresca?
Baldy Maresca. Yeah, so Maresca did bring in Pedro Neto to Chelsea from Wolves, and now he wants him at Manchester City. But what does that look like to Manchester City? Because they have Doku, who had a pretty decent season, I would say. Maybe not the best.
Towards the end, he turned up. He showed up to be, the Doku that I think they want.
And on the right hand side, I know Savinho has been rumored to Tottenham, and I don't know how true that is again because I haven't really seen or read anything that feels concrete. But he kind of seems like it would be a good fit, right? So
Yeah.
I feel like again, one of the things is the like wishful thinking, and it gets kind of pushed into. Is that the bomba? I don't feel like that's a bomba, but
Savinho to Tottenham isn't supposed to be the bomba. They said that's
okay.
not. That's
doesn't
a
feel
separate
like
deal.
it.
But the Savinho transfer seems like it's likely to happen.
Yeah.
Based on Savinho liking every single Tottenham post.
Wow. So what do you rate this one?
The transfer itself, I rated a 3.54 out of 5 to happen.
I'd say
like
at least I say 4.5.
Yeah.
So did we settle at 4?
Yeah, we'll settle at 4.
Okay.
The source, I don't know. The sources have been coming from left and right. At this point, so many people are writing about it, but he's liked. He posted a picture. No, Javi Simmons posted a picture of him and Savinho when at their time at PSV, and he liked that. It's a whole lot of stuff. He liked a whole lot of Tottenham content.
Yeah, even all the scores for all the losses last season. You liked all of those too?
That's last season. We're not talking about last season. Come on. We're talking about our title run this year.
Okay.
So I think that's a likely one because I mean he's asking. Apparently, he asked to leave Man City. Like he's looking for playing time.
He's not playing. Yeah.
And what's rumored is that Man City won't let him go until they find a replacement. Well. Mm-hmm. Look at what we're talking about now. We're talking about Pedro Neto. Like you said, Mascara brought him to Chelsea. So it kind of Maresca. What did I say?
Mascara.
So you can connect the dots, and you're like, you know what? That's it could be
Yeah,
happening where it's
yeah,
like they won't let go for a replacement. Here's your replacement. Um, so there, I think that
exactly.
might be something that happened. That might
All
be.
right. So four star rating based on sources, based on likelihood. Um, I agree. I think this transfer Savinho to Tottenham is very much on track for the players that you've bought so far. I think obviously Tonali is the biggest and best transfer I think you've had so far. Mateus Fernandes, I think, is another good one, but I think doesn't beat Tonali. I think Savinho will be right in between both of those. But so that's why I feel like it sits right in
Yeah.
the business you've done so far.
Plus,
Um,
what our needs, it hits right where our
exactly,
needs are. He can
exactly,
be left or right winger. So
exactly. And you need the left wing, right? Right wing, you
yes,
got Kudus, but
but Kudos is
yeah,
injured, and
exactly. So this Pedro Neto one to Manchester City, does that look like it could happen before Savinho leaves? Does it happen after? Does if we sell Savinho, because Manchester City have the money, right? They haven't really made any purchases yet that are really big, except for that one player that they just bought. I forget his name,
Elliot
the one with the long
Anderson.
hair. Oh, Ellie. Oh, I forgot about Ellie. And this is so early in the
Yeah.
season. It feels like last
Yes.
season.
No, 116. He got
Pounds.
outdone by the I think it's pounds, yeah. So remember, it's Elliot Anderson. They did put a
True.
bid in for the Morocco
Yes, that's what I was
midfielder,
talking about. Yeah,
and then so they have to sell. So that's why I'm kind of surprised that they're not going to sell. Savinho, I think, came from Girona,
yeah,
which is their club, right? They own that
yeah.
club.
They do own the
So
club.
I'm sure they didn't pay much for him, or I don't know how that works. I don't know if that's technically a free. So if you were to sell Savinho, that's a free transfer. That's all profit,
Oh
you
yeah,
know. So that kind of, to me, I could see that happening because you're kind of balancing out
yeah.
the 117, 116 for Elliot Anderson, but then again, they don't get charged penalties or whatever for anything. So
Oh,
I'm sure they're not worried.
oh yeah. Chelsea in the same boat. I think they have
Yeah.
been found guilty of essentially working or paying agents to make certain transfers happen, and these go back to the uh, Abramovich ownership, Eden Hazard. These agents where um, you know they got a little bit of a bonus there for pushing these transfers to happen on top of other clubs. So, um, yeah, they got a little slap on the wrist. I heard £10 million, which is absolutely nothing considering Everton. What did they get? Like a 10-point deduction
Yeah.
for something that was just like, oh yes, unfortunately we didn't make our quota this within this 3-season window while they were building a new stadium. Absolutely no leeway there, but leave it up to Chelsea to cheat their way through. Um, anyway, so yeah, so I think this Pedro Neto, I'm gonna rate it right now a
Three.
2.5.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was gonna say 3, but just because there hasn't really been many sources yet, I've heard like the sources that I saw say that they've made contact with Pedro Neto's agents, but that's it. So it's too early. It's too early. But I would say at least half because it seems if Savinho's going and we're going to give Savinho to Tottenham before, I feel like the Pedro Neto one's bound to happen, right?
Exactly. I think that gives the Pedro one more likelihood.
Absolutely. Um, yeah. So another one that I saw, which seemed a little ridiculous, honestly, but I've heard Miles Lewis Skelly to Manchester United.
I saw that one. To me, it doesn't make much sense
I could
because
see why they would be interested. I just don't think it's happening. As real as the contacts may have been, I just don't think it's happening. I don't think he's going to be
yeah,
leaving. He played in the midfield role, which he wanted to do last season. We're not in for a left back. Obviously, Calafiori and Incapia did left back most of the end of the season there. Incapia was really bought to kind of cover center back as well. case Gabriel Magalhaes is out injury, then you got that cover. So I just don't see him going anywhere. So I'm gonna give that one a 1 out of 5.
Same. Because I feel like Man City, if he is going to play in the midfield, I think that midfield is covered for. So unless he's going to play on, left back or right back, but
Yeah. Nah.
what about
Okay.
possibly, finally, Liverpool might make some transfer moves this
Just
this
gonna bring that one up.
summer. With looks like they're in talks with Barcola finally,
Yeah.
but the sum is going to be what 100 and I don't remember if I saw this right, but 130 possibly
Euros.
euros. Okay,
Okay. Yeah. I feel like it's very possible just because of the kind of money that they have been spending over the past couple seasons. Isaac, Verts. I feel like their solution recently has been to just throw money at it and hopefully it works.
yeah,
Because what we saw with Klopp, I know he broke the record fee for a defender when he brought, Van Dijk, but he was very young at the time, and it obviously paid off. I think it was a good move. Alisson Becker as well. Um, but again, players that are still there, they're still competing. But aside from that, Sadio Mane came from Southampton. Mo Salah came from Fiorentina, I believe. Um, Darwin Nunes came from the Portuguese league. Uh, Jota came from Wolves. So aside from those two big signings, I feel like they weren't spending a ton of money under Klopp, which is I think why it's carried on so long. Where like when you see these like tables where like how much Premier League teams have spent over the last 5 years, and Liverpool's always on the lowest net spend. Luis Diaz also from the Portuguese league, and they were able to sell him for a decent amount of money compared to what they paid for him.
yeah,
So um, I think they have the money to spend because they didn't really spend a ton on their club, even though they did have those record breaking fees for transfers for Allison Becker and Van Dyke. So I wouldn't be surprised if this happens. I think Barcola was rumored to Arsenal for a while, but there was just nothing there. I think is another one of those that we mentioned where people just kind of like push the narrative.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think it's likely to happen. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 at least.
yeah. Same. Because I think it's because I'm hesitant to say give it more than a 3.5, like a 4, even though I think it is going to happen. But it's the fact that you're not. What we heard a lot was that PSG was firm on not selling, not selling, not selling.
Right.
Retaining him. But and then you haven't really heard him say no. You know what? I don't want to stay. I want to move.
Yeah.
And I think that's when you kind of hear traction start when the players like, no, I'm interested in moving. Like, it's kind of like the Bruno Guimaraes one where it was like, oh, Arsenal in from, and nothing, nothing,
Yeah.
nothing until you finally hear, okay, Bruno Guimaraes wants to leave, and now all of a sudden, okay, now Newcastle's willing to sell. So I feel like it's the same thing with Barcola, where it's like PSG were kind of adamant that we're not going to sell him, and you never heard the story of okay, well, Barcola says he wants to leave,
Yeah.
so it's kind of hard to say yes, this is going to happen. But I think Liverpool, like we talked about it last episode, I don't know, something apparently is wrong with Liverpool, that we don't know
Yeah.
about. Something
Yeah.
in the
What's
air
going on?
stinks.
Yeah.
But because it's like that's a big club. That's a club that he's going to challenge for the title, year in and year out. It's going to be in Europe. Um, so like, why wouldn't a player want to go there? And that's the part that I think seems like it's going to be plausible where they can
Mhm.
afford them. It is a project to be um, interested in. So
Yeah.
I think it does happen.
I think it will, but I think there's still movement that's yet to happen. I think Liverpool reaching out to PSG is the very first step in many different steps. As you said, I know Barcola wants playing time, but there hasn't been any movement yet where he's like looking. He's been offered other clubs. There hasn't really been any other rumors. I feel like it's very early stages. So I'm gonna say maybe 2.5 halfway. I want to do another two. an Arsenal and a Tottenham, since we're both here.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so obviously we just mentioned we'll start with Tottenham, with Arsenal. Bruno Guimaraes. I think the story's finally coming to an end.
I
Finally
hope
coming to an
not.
end.
I hope not.
I think there was a lot of disagreements over the final payment, what that would cost, what the fee would be, plus added bonuses. Um, and yeah, I think it's going to be somewhere between 80, 80 million pounds and 90, I heard, with bonuses. But I've heard it's finally happening. Bruno Guimaraes is supposedly waiting to get the call so he can fly to London and get the medical done. But I could see this one by next week, I think, completed. So I'm gonna give it a 5. I think it's a done deal.
I'm
You
gonna give
heard
it
it
a
here
3.
first.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Wow. What, you think he's still going to Tottenham?
No. I just want to jinx it.
You
I
jinx it,
want
you're gonna
something to
say 5.
happen. I want something to happen where something falls through. Newcastle's like, you know what? We're not going to accept this. We want more money.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't happen.
I just the thing about Bruno is that there's in a lot of players like him. I think I've mentioned before, Arsenal were also in for Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes, and after that, how else do you go for? Obviously, Elliot Anderson is already got taken. Um,
Wharton,
what? Maybe
I don't know
Warren, but he's
what's
still young. You know, I think we're looking for the finished product. But obviously Norgard's already out, confirmed to Everton, £7 million. Not a bad deal for Arsenal considering we paid 10 for him. 2-year contract. He already served 1, so we needed it. And yeah, I just don't see anything else. I think we hadn't gotten him. It obviously still yet to be confirmed, but if it falls through, like, I think we're going to be in a little bit of trouble with Rice missing the early stages of the season. But yeah, so
You know
how,
what?
how do you feel if this does come true, does come to full fruition? How do you feel that
Um,
Arsenal's sitting right now with the team, if it were to be as
not to
is?
sound like a hater,
Okay,
right? But it almost doesn't change much
okay,
because, like you said, it's one or the other. You know, so it's like, are you going to see Rice, Bruno
Mhm.
on the field at the same time?
The idea is that I think we're going to be doing sometimes both of them, sometimes only one. But at the
So
beginning
then,
of the season, he's going to be covering for Rice in his absence for
so
sure.
are you still out for a left winger, or are you moving Eze
Yeah,
out to the left?
I think we're still in for a left winger. I think
So
Vinicius is
then
still an option.
Odegaard and Eze, how's that going to work? You
I
know,
think it's
like,
going to be game to game. Uh,
and I
it's
get it. It's good, right? This is good problems to have.
oh yeah, of course.
But when is it going to become an issue? When does it start becoming like, hey, well, I want game time? You know,
Yeah,
like, because you can't keep everybody happy forever. You know, you've seen players leave teams after they've won
yeah,
titles. You know, oh, I want more game time, or I want a different project, and it sounds good, getting all these superstars in and these high caliber players, but is there a level or is there a point where you can kind of self implode a little bit, and that comes down to Arteta, where if he can manage these personalities and
let's
manage
see.
the squad, manage the game time,
Yeah,
um,
we'll have to
like,
see that.
oh, hey, Eze Bruno, here, go play against Grimsby Town. To me, it's
Yeah,
like they're gonna be like, okay, really?
listen, I think the only saving grace here is that we are champions. I think Arsenal are trying to set themselves up to do it again. And I've mentioned before, I think the idea is that we want to have an era of domination in the Premier League. We don't want to just get that and then, like, all right, we're good. We want the Champions League, and I think you need to have two good teams to compete on multiple ends. And we know in the Premier League, it's 4 different competitions until you're out. So that's a lot of games. Unless you're Manchester United, like that takes a big toll on you. So, um, yeah, I mean that's how Manchester City did it. You know, they missed out on the Champions League one year. They went out and got Holland. But they, like I said, they almost had like two squads. I mean, all the players that they won, that they bought. Reiners, obviously, they got Marbouche right behind. When the players that have been sought out by so many teams to be a starting player, that's their backup option. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
but
think we're
look at
trying to
them.
mimic that.
But look, mimic them. Marmouche, it sounds like he's might be out the door.
Oh yeah,
Reiner's might looks like he might be out the door. So it's not
but they
a
were Pep
fail-proof plan
purchases,
either.
and now Pep's not there.
Yeah, but it wasn't a fail-proof system either. Like
It
a
wasn't.
lot
No,
of
no.
players want out,
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
even if you are at Manchester City. So that to me, if I was a fan, if I was a weirdo Arsenal supporter, then that's what would worry me. Like, because same thing with Tottenham. I mean, you kind of get worried. Like, okay, like are these personalities going to clash? Look at Liverpool. You got a lot of players to their door and paid a lot of money, and I don't think there was issues. But look at right now, like it seems like there could be some personality issues right now clashing when you have Curtis Jones fighting with Soboslai. Like
Oh
Soboslai
yeah,
is his head getting too big, inflated, and how is that going to be when Isaac gets back? And so personalities in football like have to be accounted for because I think there is. You look at Real Madrid, like sometimes it looks like they have their players, we want to call them spoiled. We call them, we'll criticize their players, because you look
yeah.
at them, we're not fans, so we don't know exactly what's going in the locker room, but the outside perspective, you can
Hmm.
kind of understand what's going on. And you say, hey, these too many chiefs too many chefs in the kitchen. And
Yeah,
is that going to be the issue if you bring Bruno? Because Bruno Guimaraes is not a small talent. He's not coming from a small team either.
yeah.
He's not. He's hitting his prime. He's 28. I'm sure he's going to want to play. I mean, but if you get him through the door, then great. That's like I said, that's
Yeah.
good problems to have. You have options,
You
and
sound
that's.
mad. Why are you mad?
I don't know. I don't understand how you get all this money.
Why are you getting so
Spending so
loud?
much. I don't know why you guys spend so much money. Crazy.
Oh, we're spending money now.
And you're inflating the market.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think it is it is, it is, you know, but you are setting yourself up for potential issues there. But sometimes it is a good problem to have. Um, Again, if we want to get the Champions League, we want to do the repeat on the Prem. I think you have to have two good teams, and I think that's what Arteta wants to do. We won the league, we made the money, now spend it, and we'll see. Once we get that, we'll just move on to that left wing, and I think we might be solid. But I was worried about that one because, like I said, we were looking at possible options for center backs to cover for Saliba's absence. Uh, you know, Kanza, Lacroix, but there was options. You know what I mean? Whereas in midfield, I don't feel like there was many options.
I
So
mean,
I'm
center back
really
is kind of. You're going to be competing with Liverpool for a center back.
no, for sure. But and to be honest, I feel like part of that was that I think Ben White was on his way out. Um, there's a chance we could just keep him. Give him maybe an extension. Um, so it's not urgent. It's not urgent. I think we can do that. Mascara is a fantastic player. I think we can do with him. So, but like I said, there was options. So there was this calm to we don't need to pull the trigger or anything crazy. Where Bruno, I was like, it's Bruno, or then you're gonna get somebody who's you never heard of. You know what I mean? Go ahead and get another midfielder from Real Sociedad or something. You know what I mean? So I really hope it's all the sources, Fabrizio. I'll hope all the sources are real and that it's almost good to go. But I did want to bring up one more Tottenham that I heard today. Could it be the Bomba?
The Bomba. Vinny?
Victor
Ah.
Osimhen.
Victor Osimhen. I had mentioned it before because that's what.
Oh yeah.
There, I heard it right, but I think it's one of those where people want it to be right rather than, actually be any type of legitimate source behind it. I think I would give that maybe a 2.5, a 2.
Okay, so still, that's not bad.
It's not bad because you could see how it can happen. Where it's like Roberto could be reaching out to, Zuri reaching out to Victor and be like, "Hey, man, you're playing in Turkey. We want to give you an option. Look what we're building here in Tottenham. It's a brand new project. We got our midfield setting up. We're getting a left winger. We want you to sit, be that number 9 for us. We can't pay you what you getting paid out in Turkey because I think in Turkey they don't pay taxes or their taxes are
Right.
covered by the club.
Yeah.
So he's getting insane amount of wages, and I think that's the only roadblock. And remember when he left Napoli, it's like nobody wanted to sign him or nobody could sign him. And I wonder how his demands are, if he's in it for the football or is he in it for the money? But if he wants a project that's like, hey, come prove yourself in the Premier League, so I can see where that can attract him to a project. Say, hey, take the step up. And I don't want to bash the Turkish league, but
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like the MLS. It's kind of some of these other leagues where these players at the end of their prime, that's where they start heading.
Yeah.
And it's kind of saying, hey, you're not ready to retire. Like you still have lots of proof.
Right.
Come do it over here. I don't remember him being much of an issue, a problem child.
No.
The only thing I remember is just him not signing or not talking to certain clubs, I guess, or does he think he's gonna be too big? But why isn't he playing in Real Madrid? Why isn't he playing in Barcelona?
I think he was rumored the big season he had with Napoli. I think he was rumored to go to Chelsea.
Yeah,
And he was really, really pushing for the move. And, Chelsea weren't looking to pay the amount that Napoli wanted. I think they wanted over 100 million euros. And at the time even then, it was like 2-3 years ago, still even unheard of at that time. So I think there was a lot of negativity surrounding his image, because he was kind of like, I think he got like left out of the squad for like a half a season before he went to Turkey because a lot of people were saying, is he refusing to play because he was denied the move, or are they not playing him because his behavior changed? So, but I don't know how much of that was true. I think it was just caused a lot, the agents that we mentioned, they push these moves. So I don't think he's the kind of person who would cause trouble in a locker room. It's what I'm trying to say.
yeah. But I feel like the likelihood of us signing Cody Gakpo is higher than Victor Osimhen.
Oh, okay. So Osimhen, what's the rating?
Osimhen, I think I give it a 2.5, a 2.
And Cody Gakpo?
It sounds like it's a lot of noise around that. I can give it a 3, 3.5.
Okay. So
not my favorite.
So Barcola has a big part in that one then too.
Yeah. Because it sounds like Liverpool was unlikely to let Cody Gakpo go unless they found a replacement.
Yeah.
And it's just a coincidence that once, and like I said, this is people might be talking, connecting the dots, but it's a coincidence that as soon as the Cody Gakpo talk started, the Barcola talk started, or vice versa, where kind of came hand in hand. So it's like, okay, well, it kind of makes sense that here's your replacement, so he's able to leave the club. And if you're talking about goal contribution, he had more than our front line last season, so it wouldn't be a bad option and an affordable option. But do I want him? Not so much.
You don't like him.
I'm not a big fan of Cody Gakpo. No.
He's not bad, and
he's not.
I saw in the World Cup, like in my opinion, he's just a little bit one-dimensional.
Yeah.
There's not much to the game. It doesn't look like it's improving. That's a thing. But he is a good finisher. He's.
But he would improve us. But he wouldn't improve us to the level of like how we got Tonali, how we got Mateus Fernandez, and mostly Tonali. Like that level of improvement was what we were looking for. We can get him and improve him this season, but it's almost like we're going to be looking to improve him again next season. That's what I don't want. Improve, get what you need now. And That's why the Krupi. Oh man, I was so excited for that one. That one
Did
looked
that
like
just fall through? Well, he got injured too, so they're
he got
probably not
injured.
gonna.
Yeah,
He's probably not
and it
gonna
was
go
very
anywhere.
unlikely. I think Bournemouth was so stubborn or so stuck on not selling.
I wonder how
You
they
know.
feel now. They're like, should we have sold him before this happened, or are they like, oh well, he might be
I bet you
worth more next summer?
maybe should go kidnap him.
Yeah, that's a shame about him in his injury.
If I was Tottenham, I'd be like, okay, dude, you don't want to sell him this season. We'll buy him and we'll loan him back to you. Just do a loan back. Hey, how many times do you do that with like these younger players? Hey,
That's true.
sign a deal with us. You don't have to come with us. You'll join us next year. I would have done that for Krupi.
Get your fitness up, recover, get your fitness up, finish out the season, and then join us in the preseason 2027, 2028.
Yeah. Bournemouth would have kept him, for their European campaign. He would have had experience with that. They're not losing a player. They have time to recruit. And then he comes plays with us.
Now they got to recruit and they don't have the money.
Exactly. Well, until someone comes by as Alex Scott.
True. But that's all the ones that's all the transfers I saw. That's all the ones I have. Those all the ones I heard.
After we bashed all the people talking about transfers, we just talked about transfers.
Let them talk.
Yeah, let them talk.
Me, I'm a celebrity, so I'm familiar with it. You know what I mean? All the negativity. You see me wearing these glasses. I'm a celebrity. I know what they're going through.
The paparazzi.
Yeah,
that's why you wear them, huh?
Yep. They want
to be recognized. Who's one signing for another team that you don't want to see happen?
Ooh, I really don't want Liverpool to get Barcola, and I don't care if it's not us that we get him. I just think that they don't deserve a player like that.
Damn. Oh, why is that?
I just think he'll score goals and he'll do great, but I don't think they're gonna get the best out of him. And honestly, they feel like spoiled. And I think at the end of the season, they were finally starting to like shut up, because they were like, after they got that gifted Champions League spot, I think they finally calmed down a little bit. But I just don't want it to happen because I just don't want them to feel like they're big boys again because they get a big transfer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm salty. I don't know. I don't care.
You sounded real salty on that one.
Let them talk. What about you? Bruno Guimaraes.
I think so. No, Vinny. I don't want that Vinny.
You just
transfer to happen.
It's how. Here we go.
I came up with a theory.
Okay, what's your theory? You want to hear it? All right.
The theory is Real Madrid need to make a lot of money real fast.
Mm-hmm. No pun intended.
But they came up with the master plan. They're like, what if we sell a player without actually selling a player? What if one of our player gets facial restructure, plastic surgery, quote unquote? So when Arsenal think they're buying Vinicius Jr., they're buying
Endrick.
They're buying a Vignicius Jr.
Piccini, what do they call it?
Vignicius Jr.
Yeah. Chitty.
You never know. And you're like, wow, man, that surgery makes you look really different. He's like, rah. But I'm Vinny.
I heard that, that they, they're just using his camp, to get the deal done at Real Madrid. That they're just using it as leverage to say like, oh, well, we have a bidder, we have a buyer ready to go. I don't think so. And what I'm going to say doesn't really necessarily favor Arsenal either. I just think that the Rock Nation, the agents currently holding his the transfer demands. I think because Vinicius is back in training Real Madrid and he looks happy as ever. I don't think he wants to leave Real Madrid, and I'm never gonna. No, he wants to come. No, he doesn't want to leave Real Madrid. But you got to pay your bills, and I know they make billions of dollars, but you got to pay your agents. They want the transfer fees, etc. And I think they have to look elsewhere. And I think there was rumor that there was like a little bit of a stall in the negotiations between Rock Nation and Vinicius and Real Madrid. And I think Arsenal were there. They inquired. and then obviously I've heard that personal terms aren't an issue, but that doesn't mean anything. But if something were to happen to Real Madrid, I think we're right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think they're using us to get a better deal with Real Madrid because Real Madrid seems to
But
be
also, I don't think it helps
no, it doesn't.
that it's public, you know?
Yeah, of course. Because again, Vinicius joined Real Madrid in preseason training, and he looks happy. And I'm sure that they told him like, go back like as nothing has happened. You know what I mean? You don't want people on your bad side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want Real Madrid fans are, they're, they don't forgive. So, but that's another conspiracy theory that we're just being used. I don't think that's it. I think it's
Don't think you're too big to be used. All right. Don't think you're too big to be used.
uh,
There's always there's always a bigger fish in the ocean.
yeah, that's true.
It's Real Madrid, Tottenham, and then I don't know what else is
Yeah,
out
I
there.
don't think Eze would agree, but yeah. So we gotta talk about these friendlies real quick. I know we don't have a lot of time, but Liverpool lost to Leeds, even though they were leading 1-0. I know Randy's like, oh, they have to mention it. They don't mean anything, but
It's only preseason.
yeah. Well, listen, Calvert-Lewin, he's hit the ground running again. Looking forward to seeing him score against every other team except Arsenal. We also had a big one, as I mentioned, Tottenham beating Chelsea, and people were excited about this one because they were a man down. What did you think? Was it a red card?
Yeah, I think
It
so.
was.
It was a mistake, but it was a red card. It's funny because Chelsea players like, oh, we aren't even playing with our starters, and they're playing with their starting 11. And then you look at our team, I'm like, dude, we got all these academy players in our starting 11. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then you look at them, and I think we both had like 4 or 5 starters playing, and it was like the same amount. Like they had Cole Palmer,
Enzo?
some on defense, huh?
Enzo?
No, I don't think he's back yet. But they had a full squad too, and I was like, there's no excuse here, and it's only preseason, and I wasn't gonna bring it up because I'm glad, it's mostly just to watch how you play. But they started talking all that smack, and I was like, I'm glad we beat you guys. I'm glad it was Richarlison put in that last minute goal.
Yeah. Had to be Richarlison. Did he take his shirt off?
No. I thought he was going to, but he did. He was like, "Oh, I don't take my shirt off when I score against lower league lower table teams."
I can't wait. We still have to do our predictions for where the teams are going to be on the table. So
it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah. And I know Arsenal had a friendly against it was Girona actually. And we beat them 4-1. The new guy scored. Solis, the Greek player. So he's got assists and goals. He's good, man. I like him. He's electric. And in a recent interview, I know he compared himself a little bit to David Villa, and he goes, I'm not at that level yet, but we kind of have similarities in the way that we play. So I like that. He cuts in. He's got good cross. He's fast. Not afraid to shoot, and hopefully that doesn't change. Kai Havertz got on the scoring sheet, and I've heard some people are saying that Kai Havertz might be our top scorer this season if he keeps up his form. The way he ended last season and the way he looks like he's starting this season, I don't know. Gyökeres, he's got to play for his spot.
You got to add in the Havertz injury somewhere in the season.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It's due to happen.
No, it's bound to happen. And again, that's why I'm so happy we do have Gyökeres. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, let's give him up if it means we get Alvarez or all this stuff." Nah, not for me. I think he helped us win the league. He deserves to stay. Yeah, I'm surprised with some of the Arsenal fans. I'm just like,
you got to be cutthroat.
Yeah, but we needed him. We got him, and he did what he needed to do. I just don't think you cut a player like that. You know what I mean? I think it's different with Jesus. Yeah. He's had a lot of injuries. He's not up to that. He's not in his prime anymore. Like, he did the thing, and thanks for your service. But Gyökeres, we just got here. And we fought so much with all the transfer rumors from that last season. What was happening, what wasn't happening. I don't want to go through that again. So, yeah, yep.
What's today? 17
days?
days to go. I didn't put my post up. I gotta put my post up.
Okay, 17.
I don't know what player wears a 17.
I don't even know who wears that at Arsenal either. I don't think we have a 17.
Oh, Christian Romero. Wait,
Well, he's not gonna be in it.
I thought he changed his number. I thought he was. Well, he's not 13. 13 is. He wears 13 for Argentina, I think.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so 17 days, a little over 2 weeks, and we will be suffering together again.
Yeah.
All right.
Prepared for my emotions to be all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Renew your BetterHelp accounts. And, yeah.
That gambling account, make sure you have loaded up with money now so that you don't have to keep loading it up.
Exactly.
Hey, and you know what? While you're at it, might as well put money on Tottenham winning the league.
Yeah. Yeah, do it.
You heard it here first.
Do it. That's going to die down real quick. So this way you don't have to suffer the whole season. That's an easy one. You get it out of the way in the first month.
Oh, you better get a box for that trophy. It's coming here. All right, and that is another episode of Rivals on the Pitch. Make sure you guys tune in next week when we get one step closer to the start of the Premier League. We go over all 20 home kits. We rank them 1 through 20. You'll see who has better taste than the rest of us. We'd love to hear what you guys think. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and follow on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Make sure you share us with some friends. You hit that 5-star. And yeah, make sure you tune on next week, which is probably one of our favorite episodes to do. And there might be a little surprise in there for us. So for you guys. So stay tuned. Join us next week. Go. Peace. Bye.